What's up, everyone? It's Roger and Abe here from DisKingdom.com with episode number 93 of the Infinity and Beyond podcast. And on this week's show, we're going to be discussing all the big breaking news of the week, and we're also going to be discussing how to improve Disney Infinity in the future, what things we'd like to see added to the game as we go forward. So, Abe, you had a good week?
Yeah, it's been a good week. How about yourself?
Yeah, been carrying on. Lovely bank holiday Monday. So of course it's raining. It wouldn't be British bank holiday without the rain. So yeah, it's been all right.
You know, it's funny because we were this past week we had one day of rain, but because the Hogwarts building is now up and running at a Universal, you see the clouds coming in. I'm like, wow, did we just go to the UK? Like literally, you look to the right where there's no Hogwarts and it's like nice bright sky. You look to the left and it's like dark clouds and it's Hogwarts. Jeez, what's going on? That's kind of funny.
Yeah, that's England. But yeah. So first, let's jump into the Disney Infinity news. There's been loads and loads of it, loads of special announcements and stuff.
Tons of them.
Yeah, nothing. There has been no announcements. There's been no news. There's been no retailers doing stuff. There's been no. All I do know is JV is in London, so he's over there, and he was. There was a little hint, I think, of maybe that they've recorded next or they've worked on next. Now we're into May. It wouldn't surprise me if either this week or next week we get an announcement of the upcoming next. Maybe if Alice in Wonderland figures are due out in a few weeks' time, you'd think we're going to be getting quite close to an announcement for them. You'd hope so. About 3 weeks away from those being released. You'd hope we'd see some gameplay and some footage of some kind for these new figures.
You know, I think this week has been like the quiet before the storm. Like, I feel like we're finally going to get, you know, like a nice little chunk of information. But whether it's just in next that we get that chunk is fine by me. But something, you know, obviously we're getting close to Alice in Wonderland. You know, we're gonna have to hear about next soon. So
yeah, I'm wondering if next week. I'm wondering if next is next week because then it'll be only about a week or two away from the figures. They need to. I don't know if they're going to drop next on us or if they're going to hype up next. It would make sense for them to say next is coming on this day, or rather than just dropping it on us one day.
Yeah, as long as they don't do what they did with Zootopia, because I mean, you know, it's like we had next on this Zootopia screening, which was the same exact day that the figures came out, which was the same exact day that they kind of like officially said, you know, anything about anything else. So, so yeah, hopefully they'll give us at least a week or week and a half of anticipation for these figures and whatnot. So,
yeah.
Hey, and we're getting close to May the 4th. I don't know, maybe they'll give us some Rogue One info. Yeah, right. I don't know.
I think Rogue One is one. I'm kind of holding out on May 4th because I'm hoping that, and there's maybe like a PlayStation store sale, so I can pick up a couple of games or something, but or maybe a Steam sale or something like that. But generally, yeah, you know, it's I don't know. I don't know if it's Is it a bank holiday out there on Monday this week or tomorrow for you? No,
no, don't think so.
Just May 8th here. So I'm just going to give a quick shout out first off to those in the chat. So happy birthday for Saturday for Chloe. We've also got was it Zandia? We've also got Layla Cow. We've also got Random Corner. So they're all in there as well watching us live. So thank you very much for that,
birthday,
guys.
Chloe.
Yes. So this week's show, since there is literally no news and there's, you know, we just figured why not? So we have basically sort of tried to come up with our ideas for how we want to improve Disney Infinity for either 4.0 or whatever they're going to call it next time. So the idea was hopefully that we come up with 10 items, 5 each. I'm sure there's going to be some crossover, so it's just going to be how to improve Disney Infinity. So, Abe, do you want to kick things off with your initial kind of how do you think they should improve Disney Infinity going forward?
I am so glad you picked me first because I'm going to pick the big giant one, which I'm sure you're going to be in agreement with, which is a huge overhaul for the toy box. Toy box is great. Don't get me wrong. I love some of these toy boxes I've been playing, like the Jungle Book ones recently, but it just is really repetitive for I don't want to say for all the gamers. I want to say maybe about half, because I want to say there's more there's definitely more toy box builders out there now, but still, it just needs a revamp, new way of playing, new modes, new toys, something that doesn't seem the same. And I'd really love if the logic was improved like tenfold. Maybe a huge copy or cut and paste button instead of you having to place one over the other over the other. You know, just to make it a little easier.
Yeah.
I know it's like asking for much because it's a lot of programming and it's a lot of logic and whatnot, but I just feel like it's just gotten I think Roger has said it better years old. So
yeah,
suggestion for improving. I don't know if you want to touch on it before you move on to your suggestion.
Yeah, I mean, I think as far as the toy box go, I mean, it's obviously one of my major things as well was I think what they've got works. They've got something now that seems to work very well. It got something that they've been building on, and they've built on it for 4 years running now. But I think it does need some overhaul. I think it could do with some new music. It could do with instead of that standard green that standard green look that everything goes when you go into a blank toy box. Maybe change that one. Leave that one in there, but put a different choice in. Maybe just a different blanking. And I think they just need to add a lot more toys, a lot more buildings and stuff. I really have felt with 3.0 they haven't really gone full blown into adding enough toys, enough buildings, enough sky domes. If you were going to make a play set or a power disc or something like that, you need to put in more sky domes. You need to put in more content. You need to put in more enemies. There needs to be, I don't think there's enough randomness. Everything seems to be being, I don't know what if they're holding back on stuff, but there needs to be a lot more enemies from random movies, lots more buildings from not just one movie, one building from one, but they need to just be adding more content, because that will, if there's more buildings and more enemies and more things like that, that's just, I would almost say, the easier side of things, because that just makes things look a bit different, make things a bit more exciting. If you're on a space mission, it will look different. They just need, we're 3 or 4 years into it now, so you got all the other stuff we've already had. So we need more toys. As far as the actual mechanics of it, I think more creative. I think the creative toys, they're allowing you to do stuff, but I think we need just them to keep adding more things to how they play it. How maybe you can set certain objects, like things like we're saying about like the water effect that everyone's been asking about. People in the chat are talking about the waters. And maybe there's just like a button that you can press and it turns the whole thing into like a space or water, so it changes the whole like gravity or something like that. So it's not the same. I don't know. I think it just needs more than just adding to it. I think it needs a little bit of it just needs a little bit of an overhaul. I'm hoping if it can drop some of the last gen and the mobile stuff for the next version, that's where I'm really hoping that the game takes that toy box takes that next step in terms of what it can create. Because if you take away the boundaries of the previous consoles, it might be able to get bigger. They might be able to have do more stuff with it. The spline tool and stuff changed a little bits and pieces. I think the cut and paste idea, the idea maybe blocking things together so people can move a whole thing at once. But I do think they do need to do a little bit more than just adding little objects to it, because I do think that the toy box itself, you compare the 3.0 toy boxes to what we saw before, there's a lot of great things there. I think like the loading of doors and stuff and loading up extra toy boxes, it needs to get faster and it needs to get quicker.
Yeah.
And I don't know if maybe when they remove the existing restrictions from like the 360, the PS3, and more importantly, I still think that the iPad version and stuff is causing issues for it to be smaller than it needs to be, because of what basically, if your game has to run on an iPad, it's going to have to be pretty small. And I'm hoping with the restructuring of the games division that this will help with the next version.
Yeah, definitely. Well, that's definitely a hefty one. So, yeah. So, in general, toy box overhaul. All right. So, number 2, this would be Roger's suggestion, and then I'll try to add to it. I'm going to
kind of tie this one. It's kind of slightly tied into the last one. This whole thing with the toys and stuff. Remember with 1.0, when you brought a character, you popped it down and you had chests, and you unlocked toys.
Yeah.
When you got Wreck-It Ralph, you got some vehicles, you got a building, you got a sky dome, you got you got an enemy or something like that. that is what I would want to see return. I do not like this, and I never liked it, where you put down a figure. Oh, I got a townsperson and a portrait. Really, is that it? It's like we used to get toys, and it would make the actual buying the figures much more valuable if you said, right, you're going to get 6 to 10 toys included with the figure. When you pop them down, you unlock them. You get a building, you get a vehicle, you get a sky dome, and you get some random enemies. If every time you got an enemy or something, it would make those figures a lot more desirable, and it would also allow for more content to go in. You're paying for it. You are paying for the figure. It would change, and it would be even an incentive to buy those extra figures. I just feel like those 1.0 characters, that was a great thing. I know people are, well, you didn't get to unlock everything. Well, they've not been giving us a load of free content in the toy box. It's like now, if we had the Baloo figure, and you popped in there, and you got half a dozen Jungle Book things, and when you get the Alice in Wonderland figures, if you got free figures, all with free toys, now they're all doing the DLC stuff. They can do all this bits and pieces. It's cost, but we're paying money for these figures. This is not a £1.99 digital thing. You're paying £10-15 for a figure for some physical toys, because we're not getting new toys seem to be added to the game, and that ties into the thing with the power discs. If they drop power discs altogether, or whatever they're doing with them, you need to add those toys keep adding the stuff in there. What happened with those Tomorrowland discs was a prime example of what I think those power disc packs should be. You buy a pack, and when you put them down, you get 20, 30, 40 buildings or something like that, and a sky dome. That was perfect. And the fact they've done that is what infuriates me even more, because they've done it once, and I've seen the light of like, going, that was what we want. That's what we should have with those power disc packs. If you're going to, we don't need just to be the ones on the disc. You can have the costume changes and stuff, but put some sky domes. If you do a Jungle Book pack, or that Marvel pack would have been great if you'd had some content. Make those power disc packs worth an upgrade. If you're not going to do it with the figures, just do something more with it.
I feel like you just gave us 2 with power discs.
Well, it's all. I meant in terms of just like unlocks.
Let me add to what you said. There's 2 things I want to add. First, going back to those chests, I love them. They were awesome. When the figures had a playset, you would find kind of those chests in a way in the playset. But if they were toy box only, you would find them randomly in the toy box. I would love that back, but I would want to make one significant change, and it would be that you earned them, like you earned those toys that you would unlock. Like, for example, let's say you found this random chest, you open it, and it gave you a challenge. And let's say the challenge was to, have Darth Maul defeat 15 stormtroopers or whatever. Yeah. Once you hit that little feat, then it'd give you that toy. And each figure could come with 5 little feats, 5 random feats that unlock 5 different toys. Just to make it more interactive, more fun than just pushing a button and boom, you unlock it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and then I was just gonna say, just on that same thing, because I had put one of my notes was the adventures. The adventures that we had with the 1.0 characters, where each one had a. Now I know they make toy box only characters and they randomly shoving them out there, but they're lost in the shuffle. It doesn't feel part of the game, does it?
Right. Yeah. No, I agree. So, I guess we can add that too. Yeah, the adventures, bring those back. Those were awesome as well. I definitely agree with you. That
kind of ties in exactly with your idea there of like each character have. Some exclusive stuff that is in the DLC, just not a toy box. It's just I think it's just they need to add more to those values of those figures.
I agree. The toy box only figures definitely need more value. So so random feat challenges, and then obviously to bring back that mini adventure. Yeah, because those adventures were fun. And then to add to your power disc, I guess this will be my next one, because I have a couple ideas for power discs to make them better, but then one of the ideas you're going to hate completely, but I'm going to say the good part first. As far as power discs, I would like something more innovative as far as what they can do. I mean, we have, costume changes, we have like event discs, we have toys and whatnot, but I want them to start adding different types of power discs. Like, for example, one I was talking about a while back was like companion discs. Just something simple, like, what if you put down you got a Pasquale disc and he follows you around in the toy box, just like a little companion, like a little pet. Yeah. He might not seem used for anything. He's not like a sidekick that fights or whatever, but he can have like a little little side thing that he does that'll be triggered by something, whether you use Rapunzel or some specific character, or you have like Figaro walking around, like some certain characters that you don't think you'd ever get as a figure, as a little companion. Another idea that I had for a Paradis, which I pushed before Star Wars came out, was just personalizing your lightsaber. Like it was just a general lightsaber color. Like, you know, the rim would be a different color, and it would change your lightsaber color to something else. You know, just something like just simple, innovative, different ways to have a Paradis. And then I'm going to attach it to the part that Roger is going to hate, but I'm sorry, I have to say this: bring back the blind bags. And this is why I say this. It feels like Paradis have become an afterthought because they're no longer in blind bags. We have a lot less of them. And the collector in me likes more. I know Roger hates that, but I love having more Paradis. The feel of the chase and to not know what you have. Honestly, I kind of got a little renewed by the Lego minifigs with Disney. You know, you don't know what you're gonna get unless you feel it, but still, it's just a cool little feel that one gets. And then finally, to be honest with you, if they do that, they can bring back the aspect of rares and actually do it right this time. Like, for example, make there be discs that you can only get in certain areas or certain packs that you buy. The only reason why I say this, I feel like it gives it more variety, and I guarantee you they'll sell more Power Discs than they are now, because honestly, people just buy one pack of Power Discs and they have stacks of them just sitting in the store now. As opposed to the blind bags, some people would buy tons and then they'd get doubles, but still, it brings back the trade aspect. It brings back the collector aspect, the chase. I'm a fan of that. I know Roger isn't, so that's why I'm already saying it. But that's one of my suggestions. Go ahead, Roger.
Yeah, for me with the Paradis stuff, what I'd like to see is, I think the sidekick idea is a great idea of having content. It's almost like a team up, but it's permanent while you've got it on. It's just following down. Maybe you charge it up and you press it and it does an alert. The team ups, the costume changes, you know, those kind of things to me are great Power Discs because they are unique. They bring something different. I don't like random toys because that's stuff that you should have in the toy box anyway and be able to use at any one time. You know, if you want to use a vehicle, or, you know, I don't even mind so much with the mounts like Arlo, because that was like a character. You know, that was like something that he was a character you could ride along or something like that. But I do think with Power Discs, I almost feel like either do it or don't do it. I don't know. If this Power Disc pack, I personally like the Power Disc pack idea because there's less of them. I mean, I picked up the you know, the Marvel pack. I'm not entirely sure if I even undid the box. I think I just tried them out in the packet kind of thing. I think I did. I think I even did that with the. I had a look the other day, and I think I've still got the good dinosaur ones are still in the packet because I was just using them still within the packet because there's been no folder. I haven't. They've been randomly roaming around in the box kind of thing. I almost feel like, you know, if they were gonna, you know, and also like, why is there no Finding Dory or Alice set Power Discs and Jungle Book? I don't know if they are actually just phasing them out. I'm kind of in the sign of things of, if they're gonna, I don't know if Disney Infinity needs to simplify a little bit, maybe make less all these things like with, you know, if the Power Discs aren't working, maybe just drop them, maybe, or make them as the, or just do packs of small very ones. But I do feel they've kind of Power Discs, figures, expansion games, play sets. There's almost been too much kind of variety, which confused people, and I don't know if dropping all of that is maybe a good idea. I wouldn't be opposed if they dumped Power Discs altogether. I don't find them. I find them an annoyance. I've got stacks full behind in a cupboard down here. I don't even need my game because they're annoying. I'm playing the game. I don't want, you know, I know this whole thing about it being a kid's game and doing it, but I think once they got rid of the blind bag issue, it fixed certain aspects. A lot of complaints about the Power Discs, but I don't know if they've done it right. They kind of went so far to the opposite way of what they've done. You know, I would have loved to have had a Jungle Book pack out with some content. I think, you know, to make it worthwhile. It's like the Marvel pack. It just hasn't quite. It just doesn't really. I mean, that's why I literally spent weeks before I eventually picked it up, because I just didn't see any need to get them. There's been no desire. You know, the good dinosaur one, I at least wanted Arlo and the dinosaurs, but I don't use them very often.
All right, what's your next one?
Okay, I'm just gonna have a look, have a quick look here, see um, on the chat, see what was going on with the things.
Oh yeah.
Random corner said, "Yep, I think Disney did the no power disc purposely. They think they could be used as promos at the Disney parks. I think this whole thing with the
That's
Disney
great.
with these codes that they're using, I think they're moving away from them anyway, just to give codes away because they're cheaper. Um, yeah. Chloe wants the hope they bring back blind bags because it was fun to have doubles. I must admit, I was not keen of having doubles because I could never get rid of the things. I got a stack, I got a pencil case full of them. It's just got to the point like, yeah, have some power discs. Right. Okay. So let me think what. Right. Okay. My next one on the list is expansion games. I want more of them. I think this was, and I've been saying this since 2.0. I feel like I've been saying this for years. And I was playing Escape to the Kill and Attack on Asgard last night and doing some upcoming videos. Yeah, and it was just I was literally just playing them, going, "What? This was exactly what when they told us about these. This was what they were hoping to add more to, was add these kind of structured gameplay. You know, because we had 4 of them for 2.0, but we only got 2 of them for 3.0. It allows you to play with all your characters. It just feels like you could play them online. They just feel like this was what the game wants, but they've messed up the advertising of how they look. And they made them with 3.0. They made the little circle ones, so they looked a little bit more like a play set. Marvel Battlegrounds feels like the expansion game, like developed into a play set. But now we're getting this thing where we can't. They're not really they're a play set, but you can't have online stuff because then you want it in the other stuff. And it just feels like there has been a development along the way, because I do think the 3.0 expansion packs were a lot better than the 2.0 ones. But Marvel Battlegrounds feels like an expansion game. And that is what I want to see more of. I want to see, and whether or not they dump the expansion game title or the toy box game disc, or whichever way they want to reword it, turn them into play sets. Whack a figure with them. If they brought out Escape from the Kill and they put Ronan with it, that would have been, you would have brought it. You would have been like, well, this is a great 5. You'd have had some experience with it. And if it says, just say this one is online, this one can be played online, but maybe cars can't be, or something like that. I don't know. But it just feels like the expansion games are where I think they need to maybe shift away from the place, merge them with the play sets completely, and just make more of them and say, look, this is the toy box, this is the Speedway playset, and all your characters are compatible. And just mix it up, change the rule. And this whole thing about playsets being this character and this character, that's fine for Finding Dory and stuff, but you can just make a playset and just put on there, this one, everyone's compatible. They're putting stickers on everything anyway. I just think if they simplify the game in the store, so it makes, because I don't think I've seen the expansion games in the store for a long time. I've not seen them in the supermarkets. I just feel like if they merged them into a playset, put a figure with them, and turn them, and just do that. If they'd done Baloo, if they brought out a new expansion game and packed Baloo in it, that would have sold so much better than just the figure on its own. And that would have been a great way. And just called it, the Jungle. Maybe not even call it the Jungle Book. It's just, Baloo with, I don't know, Jungle Experience or something like that. And just literally just maybe take it away from what they're doing. I do think that this rigidness of the playset, of it being that brand, is great and expand, but they're not doing expansion games properly, because I think there's a lot more scope to expand. Speedway was so much fun. That was such a great expansion game. And I just feel like it's been one of those things that really has been undersold and underutilized because of this. And I don't know if merging them together would be a better idea.
Yeah. What I want to add to that is, first off, I still don't. It's just me, but I still don't see 2.0 as having 4 expansion games. I feel like they still only had 2. They just had 2 different versions of each one, like they were reskins. But they were still fun. But yeah, you know what? I'm gonna agree with you as far as this disconnect that they have between playset, expansion game, and what was the other one? And it was
It was Toy Box, and then it was Toy Box Game Discs, wasn't it? That was the term for 2.0.
Toy Box Game Disc, Toy Box Expansion Disc, and then play sets. There's this disconnect between these three things. And to be honest with you, you play in all of them, so why not call them play sets? You know what I mean? I mean, I get it. They're saying play set because there's certain characters that belong there. So you only play in this set with these people, but to be honest with you, there's just this huge disconnect. Just call them all playsets because you play in all of them. And I think what Roger was saying is genius. I think, hey, if you're gonna sell the Toy Box Speedway playset, you know, add a new Cars figure or something, or something that ties in with it. Or if you're gonna do your brand new, you know, your villains takeover thing, you know, package it with a brand new villain, a brand new figure. It's a great way to introduce not only your Toy Box only characters, but you're gonna give them some type of home because everybody looks at at Toy Box only characters and they're like, you know, I can't do much with them. If you attach them to the playset name by putting them in these playsets that everybody can play in, which is your expansion games, then it's perfect. I think the marketing works that way, and you get more figures out that way as well. And then finally, to be honest with you, and this is going to tie in with my next thing that I wanted to say, which is if you guys played Marvel Battlegrounds, you will notice that the game play time is way less than certain expansion games or toy box game discs time wise how much we've played because they didn't do online gameplay, so therefore there's really not that much length. So why not make them longer? And this ties into playsets for me, which is my next one. Make them longer. You know, the 6 to 8 hour gameplay thing is just not enough anymore, especially with, you know, your key demographic growing older from when they started. People like longer games. I mean, the Toy Box, you give so many hours of gameplay in Toy Box, but unfortunately, it's only to a select few who actually have the patience to work in the Toy Box. As opposed to some of us who like story, who like, you know, to replay, you know, Star Wars on all the episodes, or like to replay what we did through our classic movies, or even if you want to tell us a brand new story like they kind of did with Inside Out, you know, just give us more length, more gameplay, more time. And I'm not referring to the things you have to do like collectibles, like, because you can spend hours in Inside Out because of, you know, you have to get all the balloons or you have to do it at a certain time. But I'm referring to story. Give us a longer story, give us a longer gameplay, and therefore if you incorporate that with the idea of dropping the expansion game name and making it into a playset, then you have longer gameplay with all your figures together. I just think it would be awesome if we had longer playsets. And
so I'm going to kind of slide in because I put down obviously more playsets, but I kind of go on a slightly different angle on that one because what I'd like to see is maybe do the kind of, you know, or the exact opposite, where we'd had a Jungle Book, we had a Alice in Wonderland playset, we had, you know, they don't know with Marvel Battleground, where maybe they just go, right, you know, there used to be a time when they used to make really lots and lots of tie-in movie games that were short, simple, effective, they sell to kids and stuff, but they were generally always seemed poor quality, or, you know, they weren't considered amazing games. Now, if you had a 1 or 2 hour experience playset for the Jungle Book or Alice in Wonderland, right? Whereas maybe it's not a full-blown playset in the same way that we've had, but maybe just had an hour or two, you know, a little bit like a level pack that you might say for, you know, Lego Dimensions as an example. Maybe I would like it a little bit longer than that.
God, those are like a rip-off.
Yeah, but I don't know if like that would feel like if I was getting Alice next week or in a couple of weeks' time, and that was in a nice little playset pack, and it had more content, but, you know, and some unlockables, and it had some feats, and you could spend a few hours in there just picking up the collectibles, doing some challenges, doing some bits. I know this is a thing of the idea of this game was that it was supposed to be movie tie-ins, and it was supposed to get rid of all the cheapy like movies that they were bringing out. And I know play sets cost money, and they cost time and stuff to develop. They got lots of developers, but I feel almost like if they need to just maybe pull it back a little bit. Maybe they've gone a little bit too ambitious to make. Because you're at the end of the day, they're a 2015. These play sets are only a $5-10 purchase. They're not a massive £40 video game. That's the trouble. What it is, these play sets are never like, what's Captain America's first? What's Marvel Battlegrounds? It's still $20 in the US.
Yeah, it went up to 20, but I think it's been discounted again because it's just not that popular.
Yeah, but I mean, even that, $20 or $25 even, you take away the price of the figure, you're only looking $5-10. It's you're not getting a full blown, Uncharted 4 here. It's not that kind of game. And I don't know, like, especially like this week, we've had the new Hitman episode come out that I've been playing, and that is literally just one level. It's just dropped. I'm actually quite liking this episodic content where it brings me back in. It makes me try and do it properly and makes me try and replay and all the rest of it. But I'm not trying to. When I finish it, I can't run on to the next level. You've got to master it, and I just feel like with Infinity that it's been lost a bit, and there's been too much content has just been sort of skipped over. I feel like I think skipping Alice, Zootopia, and Jungle Book, and there's been and The Good Dinosaur, and there's been so much stuff that I just feel like they should have been a little bit more. There should have been some more content, some gameplay. I feel like this whole thing of feeding it out to the toy box artists and using that, it's just basically it's just free. They're getting free labor. They're getting all the work done for them. Oh, yeah, here's 5 toy boxes from the community. It's like, well, you haven't really spent any money on that. That's just you've worked out a figure. If you're not going to do it just feels like they're missing something. And I don't know if they tried to go. They're trying to turn each playset into a 10 to 15 hour. Maybe just go I'd rather have 15 play sets a year, one every single month, and have smaller ones more often.
Well, here's
different idea.
Here's what I want to add to that. First off, let me start with a question. On Hitman, I know it's episodic. Do you have to pay for each episode that comes out?
You can buy them individually, or I brought the full pack for £45, which would be the price of the full game when I bought it on. Yeah.
And do you know how many episodes you get from that?
I think there was 6 or something like that. It's a bit like it's still you look at the price of the season pass for Battlefront, which is $40,
right.
And you're getting 4 expansion games. I don't know. I just think it's a great way of bringing you back into the game, and I think that's being lost.
Okay, well that was my point in my question, because when you pay this certain amount, you're expecting to have that experience. I feel like a figure, you get a nice concrete little display thing that you can keep in your room. That's what you're paying for, and that's great. That's their idea of the DLC. But as far as repeated gameplay, something that actually has something that's going to bring you back over and over again, I only see myself coming back to play this figure for not that long. That's why I feel like they need to release longer play sets or something like that, because if you just do that, where if you're going to sell an individual toy box only figure, okay, I think that's a different category, because you want it to come with an hour or 2 of adventure, which their idea of it is making a special toy box for it, which is not that great in my opinion. But what I wanted to point out, and by asking you about Hitman, is I paid a certain amount of dollars for my season pass for Battlefront, and I have been going back and spending hours, and I'm talking about hours almost daily for some time now, and it's because it has the content that delivers the ability to spend hours of time on it. And that's why I feel like play sets or additional little game packs with, let's say it comes with the toy box only, it needs longevity. It needs something that's going to keep you playing for some time. The toy box can only keep me for so long, and that was about 2 games ago. You know what I mean? For in my opinion, I mean, the path the path tool was awesome for the first few months. In my opinion, I just got tired of it. It needs to be something that keeps bringing us back. And so to tie in with what you said, I feel that. But then that's going to get your money's worth.
I was going to say with that. Yeah, so that season pass thing, because like with Lego Avengers, for example, you've got the season pass, and they brought out an Ant-Man level, and they brought out a Captain Marvel level, and they brought out a what was the other one? Masters of Evil level, and there's a couple more ones. There's a Shield one, and there's a Doctor Strange one coming out, and those are perfect examples of a season pass where it brings you back in and you play a level. It's literally one level with a little story, a few little scenes. It's literally 20-30 minutes of gameplay, and it's great. And I feel like this is where, I don't know, it just feels like that starting to feel like, to me, like this is where Infinity maybe needs to be changing its shift pattern. Maybe not giving us such long experiences just for the sake of it. It's like, for example, let's take, for example, Rise of the Empire as a good example of a playset with 3 different movies, right? What if they'd broken that down and all of the Empire stuff was with Luke, or with Luke, and all the original one was start with Darth Vader, and the Return of the Jedi levels were all with Chewbacca or something like that as individual packs, but they were only literally a couple hours, and they'd spread them out over September, October, November. Would that, and that just would have been, I know some people are going, well, I don't want to have to keep buying all this content, but I think, if they're going to go down this 2-3 year cycle, they need to start spreading the content a little bit better, getting you back to the games.
I agree and disagree in the sense that playsets need to be that long, and the reason why is because they're releasing a giant wave of amount of figures.
Yeah.
However, if they're going to release an individual toy box only figure or 2 toy box only, that's where your formula comes in. I think it should come with at least an hour or 2 of unique gameplay. And I'm not talking about just, how the figure plays in the game. That's not the DLC that I want. But I agree with you there. I mean, it needs at least an hour or 2 of content to come with it. Or like you said, some of the power discs come with additional toys. It has to have a little additional bonus. But for a big playset, I need that to be longer, man. I mean, I wanted some more space battles, and I only got a little bit. And I got too much, I got too much Aqua Sports in Force Awakens. Yeah. I could have used without that. I mean, I could have gone without that. But anyways, I agree with you. You need to attach at least an hour or 2 with the toy box only.
Because it's kind of that thing as well, I think, with this idea of them going into like a long, if they're turning it into a platform, maybe that thing of, all the play sets and all the toy box games and all of this lot, it all needs to be on one great big system. And I might be sitting there in the offices now going, you can't do it because of this and this. This is like, it's not really, we're just throwing out ideas at this point. But if it needs to become one big platform where it's done with DLC and updates and one big program, I think we found the concept of the cartridge pops in the slot and that's it, because the game has moved on from that. It doesn't, this game is no longer, I think, tied to a disc. It's no longer 3.0, isn't 3.0? Half the game is not included on the disc. We need to move away. It's just a digital platform, and you buy toys and whatever it goes, but it's all being put onto one thing. It's like I was playing in the Avengers playset last night, and I was having a blast because I haven't played it for well over probably a year or 18 months, and it was a lot of fun. I was really enjoying it. It was like, it's like, well, I've got challenges and things to do with my Marvel characters that I haven't had much fun with recent, other than Marvel Battleground. Bringing them back, or do even one thing or the other, but make it when the next version of Disney Infinity comes out. Literally, just say it is a platform. It is Disney Infinity. Everything's going to be upgraded. There's no more disc. It's just literally just dump it.
Yeah,
so that you can add all of this.
Yeah, I totally agree with you there. What was I going to say? How many do we have left?
I don't know. I don't know if that kind of slid into a sort of a.
I have one more. That's all I can think of.
Yeah.
One more.
Well, I'm gonna kind of you carry on.
I was gonna say, you want to check in with everybody else before we get into the next one?
Yes. So let's just check into the chat room, see what we've got going on there. Yeah. So Random Corner was saying a bit like an episodic thing, which is kind of what I was saying with the playsets, maybe spreading them out, little things and things. And yeah, Layla Cow said more like a base where they can just keep adding DLC, which is exactly what I said. I think the game is just getting to that point now where that is what they're going to go to. I think maybe maybe 3.0 is going to go for a few years. Maybe they've just have that one platform and keep adding stuff to it. I still think they should relaunch Disney Infinity next year with the concept of saying that this is the platform you're going to have for years. You're going to have DLC. You're going to have upgrades. We're going to be doing stuff. This is going to come out swinging with the bat and literally say, like, this is Disney Infinity, and this is all of 1.0, 2.0, 3.0. All work with it. Drop the number system. Everything will work. Make it one big platform for moving forward, that you just keep upgrading and updating. Buying the individual starter packs every year, that's not what this game is. If you want to get people into it and keep people into it, because this is it's a console game, there's lots of life in this game if they do it right. And I do believe that the game has got tons and tons of new content every year. Going to have new players coming in. You might drop off some of the older ones as they move on to other games.
Mm-hmm.
But if they've already paid $10, or even maybe this, I don't really want to turn it into a free to play game, but with that, it kind of already is. You just pay for it slightly differently with toys and paid packs and stuff rather than in-game purchases. Make the main disc or make the main download free, or do when you put down your thing, you unlock more stuff with toys. Or I think they need to just move away from like we say, they've moved away from the annual thing. They've already done that. They've done the DLC. So we've been saying about this for years. Now they're doing it. Now it's like, I want to see this step up a gear, communicate it, get it out there, and say this is one game. We're not upgrading the disc. We're not upgrading. No more starter packs. No more big annual releases. Just constant content.
I was gonna say I kind of disagree with that, because it's buying your starter pack and your disc shouldn't be free, and the reason why I say that is it's just like every game out there, because Star Wars Battlefront, I bought my disc, and what I would be buying as figures in Disney Infinity is basically me buying the DLC. So I don't think it's kind of it's not gonna happen.
Or even like a 10, 15, $20 kind of initial outlay for the main toy box mode and anything else. Like at the minute, you can go and buy 3.0 on the PlayStation Store for about £16. It's about $20 or whatever it is, and I think that's a great price. That's a great price to get people in, because you're only giving them the toy box, and you can buy a toy box in the character, and you're going to have hours and hours and hours of fun with kids. Kids can do Infinity cheap. It's all the extra stuff that's coming in it. But this game is not going to survive if it just goes toy box only. Toy box only characters, one after another.
Toy box only. Yeah, I'm getting tired of it.
But it can't survive. Just keep giving us toy box only characters, and there's more toy boxes you can play from their artists, because the artists are going to start getting. They're getting bored, because they're doing the same thing that they've been doing for years. Now, obviously, you got this big thing of, you got the Toy Box Summit, but it's basically just a nice little carrot to kind of get everyone working for free. And that's the way I'm looking at it. I just feel like Disney needs to be doing more than just, it's a full-on console game, focus on it, do it properly.
I kind of agree. I think the Toy Box Summit is a driving force to keep people building. But anyways, that's totally different subject from what we're talking about. I'm gonna add my last one that I had on my list, because I think we kind of tapped into a bunch that I already had. The last one that I have is, it's a big complaint with a lot of people, and it has to do with crossover. You're talking about Lego having all these different properties together, or you have Skylanders, who has no limitations to what figures you use. So my suggestion is, if you like to create unique stories, create a play set that is unique, where you can have everybody play, where there's no limitations to what figure you can use. I know there's some type of behind-the-scenes drama between Marvel not wanting people, to mix in with anybody. I'm sure Star Wars is a little bit more lenient, but I'm sure Star Wars is Disney's baby right now, so they wouldn't want that either. But honestly, just create a simple, unique story that everybody can play in, whether if it's just within Disney alone, or whether if it's with all Star Wars, Marvel, and everything. Like, like how many times have we joked about a Disney princesses playset? You know, all the princesses get together, or what if you just had a just generic playset, kind of like the way they do with Kingdom Hearts? You have all these properties that meld well together, and the game works perfectly fine because of that. So I mean, like, I would love to see a playset where all my Disney, Pixar, Marvel, and Star Wars characters can play together. No limitations to what you figure. It gives your toy box only figures so much more value to those who are asking for that content. And I mean, yeah, I mean, if you're afraid for crossover into the actual stories of these properties, we'll create a brand new unique one. I mean, come on, Disney is a storytelling company, so create a new story.
Yeah, that's pretty much exactly what Random Corner just put in. He said, I want a storyline that mashes together all cut scenes and like Jasmine on Raja's back shooting at a giant snake in Agrabah, or Mickey and Minnie raiding Beast's castle. And I think that's exactly right. But then I think that kind of ties into what I was saying about the expansion games, of letting everybody into it and having a story and selling them as a playset, you know, and just kind of maybe just saying this and just stick a label on the front and just says Marvel, Star Wars, and you just do the lot and just let them go in there and just do it. I just think, you know, I mean, yeah, it's like, was it Layla Cow just put on there, says, yeah, the game's called Disney Infinity. The Disney part has taken such a backseat to Marvel and Star Wars, and I do think that that happened, and it came at the expense of the Disney fans, and I do think they've just been getting chucked powered toy box figures, and you know, we're going to get Finding Dory, but that means that's been a year since the last Disney playset. And I think, like you're saying, you know, I think that's what worked so well with Marvel Battlegrounds, was we suddenly got all your figures out and you sat there with all your characters. And I feel like Toy Box Takeover and stuff was exactly what you're saying. You want to play in with different characters. You want to chuck down your Olaf and then you grab your Darth Vader and all the rest of it. I think that's been this one thing of the expansion game stuff works best with that idea, and I don't think they've been taking full advantage of it all, because they all just go, it's all in the toy box.
Yeah, exactly. It just needs to be infinite possibilities, like they say. You know, don't make it limited possibilities, because that's what it feels like.
Well, I think the trouble is as well is like the Toys to Life games category has gone through a lot of changes since the game initially launched 4 or 5 years ago. You know, Skylanders have dropped off. You know, they're basically trying to come back with a new show and trying to get their things. And Lego Dimensions has come in. I mean, nobody knows what's going on with that at the minute. And Infinity keeps moving the goalposts and keeps, you know, they're changing around, and they're doing, you know, there's been lots of like skirmishes this year of no starter pack, DLC, all the apps have all changed and all the rest. There's been a lot of movement. And, you know, if this is just literally, if I said it, I feel like if we're just in a placeholder year until they relaunch the game next year, I don't know. I think they do need to reshuffle stuff, because I do think some of the stuff that's working is working great, but there needs to be some tweaks and improvements to make the game stronger. And, you know, hopefully some of our tips, you know, and what we want, you know, is, you know, what you guys want as well at home.
Yeah, absolutely. It's I mean, it's still a great game. I love Disney Infinity. I still, you know, obviously just love my figures. I have my little shrine to them and everything. But yeah, I would love to see, you know, quite an overhaul and improvement, because let's be honest, I know their key demographic is you know, the younger crowd, but there's just such a large adult base that, you know, you guys can all tell by behind me or behind Roger, we like collectibles, we like our figures, we like our stuff. So there's a large age gap of players that play these games, and so I think they need to aim a little higher for some demographics, and I think it'll make the game even better.
It's like, for me, it's, you know, obviously it's a kid's game, but I almost feel like, you know, it's like we're saying this when what we're saying because we love the game and we want to see it improve. We're not, you know, it's not a case of ripping it to pieces because it's not working. We're just trying to work out ways of trying to improve the game. I think that's pretty much going to be the best thing for you, because what we would like to do is I'm going to put up a post up on the Infinity and Beyond Facebook group. We're going to go in the comments section as well. You can get through us on Twitter and stuff. Let us know, what do you guys want to see in the future? What do you think of ideas? What don't you like? What you do like? And if there's basically an upcoming episode, we will go right back through all of this and look at it from your guys' point of view and kind of just share the thoughts back as a bit of a feedback from what we've said to what you've said. Especially if there's no next week, we might need some.
Yeah, I guess our next episode will be what is next in Disney Infinity next. Our guesses. Stay tuned.
yes, that'll be there. It's just, I think it's, I love hearing from you guys. I love knowing what you guys are thinking, because sometimes as well, what our ideas might not be what you guys are thinking, and you've got different ideas, and sometimes you've got better ideas than we've got. But it's always great to kind of get feedback as well, and also it shares that your thoughts with everybody else. So it's definitely that is all going to be made a note of for a future episode, which will be coming down the line. I'm just going to quickly jump into live chat. Lila Cow, Toys to Life General has been dropping across the board, which I agree with. Random Corner, like a playset with all the princesses get caught and the princesses have to save them. That would be kind of unique. I love that idea. And yeah, a cool one would be like an episodic thing, like Disneyland Takeover, and then episode 2 where it's like Walt Disney World or something like that. So yeah, there's definitely lots of ideas and different kind of things. I do like the idea of the princesses saving the princes, or even better, the princesses having to save the Marvel superheroes. That would be even better.
Yes,
only
that's the one. That's like a $1 billion idea right there.
Yeah, a Black Widow. Is allowed is in there as well. She doesn't have to be rescued. She has to be rescued by Iron Man or something. It'd just be, I do think it's, they need to be adding more content and stuff. But I'd love to know your guys' thoughts. I'm just going to do a quick housekeeping before we finish off this episode. If you haven't already done so, check out Ethan over at sortouts.com and Magic Band Collectors. You can check out our Patreon as well, patreon.com/DisKingdom, where you help guys support the show and you get episodes of the podcasts a little bit earlier than everyone, not the Infinity ones, but the other ones. We're going to be discussing the Jungle Book and the Civil War movie in this week's episodes. And also check us out on our Infinity and Beyond Facebook group, and you can find us on all the different social medias. But if you're on YouTube, give us a subscribe. If you're on like any of the audio versions and you're listening to this, if you could give us a review and definitely 5-star, be good. Or just it'd be great to kind of get some feedback on the audio side of things from like iTunes, where you can subscribe as well. Anything else you want to add on that, Abe, before we finish off?
Yes, more Marvel women. Okay, that's it.
Power to the woman, yes. I think everyone would agree on that one. Anyway, guys, thank you very much for watching. Cheers to everyone in the chat, and we shall see you guys in a later episode. Later.
Thanks, guys. Later.